Abby. I wanted to leave you some feedback on Essay 4, your critical analysis. Overall, this draft is working really well. I have to say, I'm really impressed with your detailed response to the evidence that you've brought in to your paper. Um, these are meaty paragraphs. I'm so happy to hear your voice in regard to what Sedaris had to endure from his abusive teacher, but I think that it works really well. Um, uh, I think your paragraphs are working well in terms of I can see the excuse me, I can see the key idea, I can see the evidence, and like I said before, your detailed explanation of the evidence, it's really good. Like we as the reader gets a clear sense of how you're interpreting this information. And so what I often see with critical analysis essays is students will present a key idea, then they'll bring in evidence from the source, and instead of doing something new with the evidence, they just simply repeat what the evidence has already said in their own words. But you're doing the exact opposite, meaning you are doing what you were supposed to be doing and almost taking it to this other level with the amount of detail and thought that you've put into your response. So I'm really pleased with that. In terms of your summary, I think that there are some good details here. There's some minor stuff that I might do some tweaking on in terms of your wording. I like that you're starting with this idea as the opening for your summary. But you say more criticism received can lead to a better outcome for a student in his essay. And instead of saying of, I would say titled Me Talk Pretty One Day. This is a good plot summary sentence. There's no mention of college in these opening sentences. So this sentence in some ways kind of comes out of nowhere, where since I'm familiar with the essay, I can see what you're doing. But you might make a clearer connection between the idea of college in Paris. So meaning once he was enrolled in the class in Paris or something like that, college became a new experience for him. Does that make sense? So you just need to make a clearer connection between your sentences so the readers can see how they connect, because they're going to go, whoa, college, where did that come from? I thought we were talking about moving to Paris, right? So I said before that your paragraphs are really meaty, and I love the detail that you bring in. You might consider, however, breaking like some of your lengthy paragraphs into shorter paragraphs. So this one, for example, I think that this right here could be a new paragraph, right? So what I would recommend doing is breaking this off and making it be a new paragraph and saying something to the effect of, despite the teacher's criticism, David pushed himself to be a better student. So what will essentially happen here is this becomes a sub point that relates to this idea here. I do want to talk to you a little bit about your citations. Good work integrating the evidence into your writing, but you've got double citations here. So if you include the author's name in the signal phrase, there's no need to include the author's name in the parenthetical citation as well. MLA is a really plain style, and it really doesn't like unnecessary repetitive information. So you don't need to do both of these, right? It's one of the other, or one or the other, I should say. Here's a great example of where you handled it perfectly, right? So you have your integration, you have a signal phrase, you have the evidence, but since you didn't mention the author's name directly, you need to include it in the parenthetical here. So this is a really good example of a good a good piece of evidence. And so I think that your final summary as well works really well. It brings the discussion to a close. Coming down here to your works cited, your bibliographic entry looks pretty good, except for your book title here. I know that I think it was listed this way on your essay, but actually we do not use underline in MLA anymore. Book titles are always italicized, and you want to make sure that you use a hanging indent on the second line of your source. However, the content of this essay is quite strong, particularly, and I got to hear so much of your voice, which is really what I wanna hear and see in critical analysis essays. So this is really good. Thank you, Abby.